Hey everybody! I'm using up things in my refrigerator that are on the verge of spoiling. I had some carrots, I had some kale, and I decided to make an Asian-inspired roasted carrot soup with a really interesting kale garnish. It is delicious, it is beautiful, let's make it! Alright, the first thing we're going to start with are the kale chips. And the reason I'm making kale chips for a garnish is because I don't have anything else green.
Okay.
And I'm working through the refrigerator and I had some kale that was kicking off a little bit. You know how it gets a little yellow around the edges? I was like, how about we just make a little garnish for our soup with some kale chips? So I've washed and dried and thoroughly dried. I just have like 3 little pieces of kale here. Remember, it's a garnish. And I'm just gonna tear it into bite-sized pieces and getting rid of that middle kind of stemmy, woodsy, thick part. And putting that out on a sheet tray. I need to keep it like super separate.
Sure.
So they're not touching each other, so they'll really roast up and get nice and crisp. It's the same way you do collards, but I sure as heck wasn't doing that very well, was I?
Kale distancing.
Kale distancing. Now here's the thing. Yes, you could just put some oil on this and a little bit of sea salt and pop it in the oven. I've got my oven set at 350, which is a little high for regular kale chips. I usually put it around 300, 250 and do them longer, but I'm gonna do these a little quicker so they're done by the time we're ready to put our soup ingredients in for roasting, because this is all happening in the oven. So here's the fun part of this. I'm gonna make a coating to go on these kale chips. And I'm starting with probably about a tablespoon of nut butter. I'm using an almond butter. You could use peanut, you could use anything that you have. And remember that glorious garlic, hot pepper oil that we infused the other day? What did we use that on? God, I've forgotten.
The savory oatmeal.
Every day just runs into the next.
Let's keep it upbeat.
I'm gonna use a little bit of that oil in there to give us a little bit of that garlic flavor. This is where you could use kind of any seasoning that you want. I'm using a little cumin because the end product of our soup is gonna have a Thai flavoring. Maybe more Indian? I don't know. I'm just, again, using what I have in the house. So that was a little bit of curry powder. And then for a kick, even though, should I put that in? Because it had a little red pepper flake in the oil. I think I'm just gonna put the littlest bit of cayenne pepper. And all we're doing here is we're just gonna kind of smash this and mix this around. See that, Josh? And then here's where the fun, kind of gross part, get the kids involved with this, is we're gonna massage this into our kale before it starts roasting. And you just gotta get in there. God, I love the smell of curry. So I'm just like kind of really massaging that into the kale. I'm coating like all parts of it. And that's gonna give like this really great, instead of just a basic oil and salt flavor, which is delicious, this is just gonna take it to another level of flavoring for our soup. In my opinion, your garnish is as important as the dish itself. If you're serving this with bread, it better be great bread, which by the way we're making. Now I'm gonna separate it so it's not touching each other on our baking tray. And it's gonna go in that 350-degree oven. Josh, we're gonna put it in for 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yes. While that's cooking, let's get started on our soup. It's going to be a delicious roasted carrot soup. You guys, I have about a pound of carrots. These are getting ready to go.
Time, put them in the oven.
It's time to cook soup. And I love doing my soup this way. I always do, I shouldn't say always, but if it's a vegetable soup, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna roast it first. I love that it just gives me that kind of extra kind of caramely layer of flavor with my soup. So I have what was a pound bag of carrots, and they have been thoroughly washed. I'm gonna cut them into rounds. And Josh, I never, you know this about me, like I never use a vegetable peeler and take off the skins. I like it. I like to leave the skins on. All right, last of the carrots going in. And to the carrots on the pan, like I said, we're using up stuff that we have. I mean, look at that onion. It's It's almost disgusting. I'm not throwing anything away. Get rid of that gross part and this little piece. And cut them into quarters, and then I'm gonna break them up. I want them to be on the same kind of level as the carrots are in the tray. And what was this? Probably like a half an onion. You don't want this to be like an overwhelming onion flavor. I want to taste the carrots, not just the onion. To that I'm adding, like, what did I grab? Like 5 cloves of garlic. Now I'm leaving them in their skin, but I'm gonna give them like a little smash. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want to really have a nice roast on that garlic, and the garlic will tend to burn. And we don't want a burned garlic. That's disgusting. Like, I don't mind a little char on the onions and everything, but garlic, no.
That's gross.
Look at this. I have a little jalapeno left from, what did we make the other day with jalapeno? Then I'm going to cut just a little sliver of that jalapeno off. Throw that on the pan as well. So there you go, you guys. We have carrots, we have onions, we have garlic, I have a little jalapeno. Now I'm gonna drizzle it with a little bit of that garlic oil that I made the other day. You could use olive oil, canola oil, coconut oil, anything. I'm just gonna give a little drizzle. And then I'm gonna add just a little bit of seasoning. Now you could do, since we're making kind of a Indian Thai, just like some kind of fun carrot soup, you could use a little bit of curry here, you could use a little cumin. I'm using a little garam masala, which is an Indian spice. So it's like multiple ingredients. It's a spice blend. It has cinnamon and cardamom and cumin and black pepper. Oh my God, that's good. I'm gonna add just a little bit of that on top of everything. What we do next, I'm just gonna toss it all together. There you go. Now this is going in a high temp oven. So as soon as our kale comes out of the oven, we're gonna up that temperature to 425 degrees. And this will roast for just until the carrots are tender, because we're gonna eventually put it in the blender. It's actually start to finish, a very fast soup. I think like 15, 20 minutes on your carrots, but you just give it a fork pierce and see what happens for you. All right, so our carrots, everything is roasted nicely. Remember when we left the garlic, it's still in its skins. We're gonna just take those out. And everything, that's a nice one. I think there were 5 of them, right? Gotta find all 5. Everything is going into the blender. Onions got a little crispy. I can smell that garam masala, like it's really nice. That's going in. So we're gonna need some liquid. I am using, because I happen to have some coconut milk. If you don't have it, you don't have to use it, but I have cans of coconut milk in the pantry, and I'm using a full can of coconut milk that's going into that. I also have some limes that are going bad. Look at that, look at the side of that lime. But that's gonna be good juice right now. So I've got a juice of 1 lime, and I'm gonna add just a little bit of ginger. Get the skin off that ginger. If you guys don't know how to do it, you do that with the back of the spoon or the front of the spoon. It's just great. Just a little ginger. Pungent, so we're not gonna need a ton. I think a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Let's blend it up. Good. Josh, I have like the end of a little bit of vegetable broth. I'm also gonna add that. I would say it would be great if you had about 3 cups. You can supplement with a little bit of water too, which I'm going to, because I think that was shy of 3 cups. And again, give that a little blend. It's nice, super creamy. Maybe just a little taste. Good. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is just put that in a pot. I'm gonna heat it up, and then we're gonna serve it with our kale chips. So there you guys go. I've had it on the stove just a few minutes to heat it up. I can't find a ladle, so I'm gonna use my measuring cup. Just ladle a little of that beautiful soup in. Look how pretty that is. I decided I wanted to just put a little drizzle of that nice garlic oil on the top too before I put on my kale chips. And look at how great the kale chips turned out. Like super crispy. There you go, you guys, an Asian carrot soup. I used up things that were on the verge of going in my refrigerator. That kale that I just had a few pieces of that were starting to turn, we crisped that up and made it a really special garnish. The recipe is gonna be on libbysummers.com. There's a link in the bio. I don't know what else to say. It's really good.
Let me try.
Yeah, take some of that. Have some of the kale.
Oh my god, it's so good.
You got it?
Mm-hmm.
See you next time, you guys.